Hi everybody, my name's Damien Hine, and I'm making this video because I want to share with you something amazing that's happened in my life over the last 10 years. It's been a long journey. About 10 years ago, I was thinking a lot about childhood dreams, and particularly the idea that when I grew up, I wanted to write some books. Because when I was younger, I loved reading. I had such a fierce imagination. Roald Dahl, Tolkien, Philip Pullman. I spent whole afternoons just sucked up in my imagination. And I wanted to be someone who one day would write books of their own. So I was on a walk on an estate where I lived, and I was bringing this dream to God and thinking, God, is this something from you? Do I need to lay it aside? And as I was walking, I had this idea come into my head of a great big epic fantasy world in which there was a really interesting metaphor of spiritual seeking and how we are looking for our place in the world and ultimately looking for answers in Jesus. So I was on this walk, and by the end I had the ideas for three main stories and many of the main characters. And I got home, I started jotting it down on my computer and making notes, and more ideas kept coming until I came to the end of the third book and had such a clear, vivid scene of a scene that was just set my heart racing. And I sent this document to a friend of mine and said, "What do you think?" And she said, "This is really, really good. You need to spend some time on this." So I did. I put more and more time and energy into it. I started writing the first book in 2011. And over the last 10 years, the three books have taken shape, and they've become much, much more than I could have possibly dreamed that they would be at the beginning. And it's been an incredible journey. And all along, I felt that I've been writing these books not just from my own imagination, but with God with me. So what's come out the other side is an epic adventure story with fantastic characters and imaginative places and good versus evil and romance and humour and lots of good stuff. And in the themes, just below the surface, there's packed with so much meaning. I mentioned there are people who are searching for their place in the world. There are many broken people who find wholeness. As you get into the story, there's so much in there which points towards the God that we worship and is revealing his character in a natural way through the story. As I came towards the end of the second book in 2015, I said to myself, maybe it's time to try and get this published. So I sent off the first one to some professionals in the industry, and full of faith. And I got rejection after rejection after rejection from all of them. And I was quite stunned by that, because I genuinely did believe that I would be published at that point. But I prayed, and I felt God say, keep going, keep going. So I went back and I did some rewrites, and I made the first book better, and I did a training course and became better. And sent off again and was rejected again and improved it. And then there was a long process over the course of 5 years where I was rejected by about 60 people. But all along felt like God was with me. And that was enough to keep me going and to keep enjoying the stories. And a year ago, a publisher finally said yes. And so just earlier today, I had something incredible come in the post. Here is the first book of my trilogy. I've come to the end of this journey, at the beginning of a new one, as these books go out to the world. And there's I wanted to encourage you guys, because sometimes it is that God calls us to things which are big and which are not finished in a few days but take years, and a great deal of investment, a great deal of commitment, a great deal of heart. And there was a verse which I kept coming back to from Philippians. Being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion till the day of Christ Jesus. I want to encourage you that we all face days of setback. And it might be, there are days when we feel, what is the way ahead? How can we possibly find our way through this? Where is God? But when we stick with him, he is faithful to us, which he always is. The question is, will we stick with him? He does see us through to completion. Our dreams that he gives us can come true. So whatever God's called you to, whatever is in your heart, whatever your gift is, hold on, because he will keep you going through to the end. And he will do even more than you could possibly ask or imagine.